I think in our previous session, we have started with the discussion of OOPS, right? Object Oriented Programming. And we have also discussed about what do you mean by class, what do you mean by object, how you are going to create a object, and how you are going to create a class handle, right? And how you're going to create a object for a particular class, and what do you mean by a new constructor. Okay, so how you're going to use that particular new constructor for creating your object. Okay, and what do you mean by a property, and what do you mean by what do you mean by a method. Okay, how to access the properties and how to access the methods, this and all things we have discussed in our previous sessions. Okay, yeah, and we've also seen the steps of creating your class and instance for your object, right? So I think in our previous sessions, those particular recordings, I think some from 13 minutes, it was not correctly recorded. I don't know why there was a glitch. So once let's see how to create a class with some example. We will see how to create a class and we will move forward. Okay, so any queries on any doubts in the previous sessions? That's great. Okay, so let us see how to write down a simple class and how to create an object and how to do the things. Let us see. Let me open this. So first of all, let me create a simple module, which is example. And in this, I'm going to create a class C1. I have created two properties, int A and int B. Okay, two properties I have created over here. Now, I'm going to create a function also, function void display. Okay, so this function is just going to display I am inside the class. Okay, and followed by end function and end class. Okay, now within an initial beginning block, what are we going to do is we are going to create the handle for our class. How to create the handle for our class? Class name is C1 followed by C1 underscore H is my class handle. And let's say I'm going to access this property. First of all, I need to create the instance of my class. Okay, I need to create the object. Without creating the object for your class, you cannot you cannot update your property values. Okay, so how I'm going to update it? C1 underscore H dot A is equal to 50 and C1 underscore H dot B is equal to 100. And let me display it. So how I'm going to display? I'm simply going to write down uh, dollar display the value of A is C1 underscore H dot A. Sorry, A is, let me mention the format specifier over here, and C1 underscore H dot A. Okay, and followed by end and end model. That's it. Let me run it and let us see what are we going to get over here. So we are going to get the value of A is equal to 50. Okay. Yes. So is this clear up to here? Any doubts or any queries? I think this particular part when we were doing coding, it was not recorded properly due to some particular glitch. Is it clear, guys? Up to here? Any doubts or any queries? Yes. Now, if you're not going to create the instance of your class, for example, if I'm going to comment this particular line and let me run this again, let us see what is that we are going to get if we are not creating a object for a class. Then we are basically getting a runtime error. So basically your errors will be of two types. One is compile time error and another is runtime error. Okay. So in system verilog onwards, we are going to focus upon two type of errors which we are going to get. One is compile time errors and another is during runtime errors. Okay. Now, what do you mean by compile time errors? Compile time errors basically we will get during the compilation time, like your syntax errors or any particular illegal, like if you're going to give any wrong size or if you're missing any particular thing, those are all your syntax errors. Okay, so if you before running your code only, your compiler will not allow, your compiler is going to give you this particular type of errors. And coming to runtime errors, these are not syntax errors. Okay, so syntax will be, everything will be correct only, your compilation will be successful. when you're going to get this runtime errors, your compilation will be generally successful, and this errors will be caught during your runtime. Okay, without creating your object, no object creation. Okay, no object creation, or you're trying to allocate more number of elements into a packed array which is not intended to have that many number of elements. For example, if a packed array is going to have only 5 memory locations, but you're going to give 10 data items, so in those particular times during the runtime you are going to get this type of errors, runtime errors. Okay, so yeah, during the elaboration we are going to get this particular compile time errors, and during the runtime we are going to get this runtime errors, right? Yes, is it clear, guys? So we are going to focus more upon this two type of errors. No, it's not the same. Not the null. Yeah. So this is nothing but your null pointer access is nothing but your runtime error. Okay. Is it clear? Simulation time is basically, is the simulation time and compile time are same? No. Basically, simulation time is the time where you are actually running your code. You are simulating your code, and compile time is basically you're basically compiling your code. Okay, so both are different, not the same. Okay, runtime error. The code is executed correctly, but the wrong output. Is it right? Not exactly the wrong output. You can say. Generally, you can take this example like this is not the wrong output, right? Here you're not creating an object, but it's not a syntax error, right? Okay, so this is basically caught during the runtime. Okay, yeah. And also we have discussed about something known as new function. So every class, it is we are going to have a default constructor which is known as new. Okay, so how I'm going to take function new, I'm simply going to have, and let's display dollar display, uh, I'm calling from new function. Okay, and followed by end function. Let's see what is that we are going to get. End function. Still I'm getting fatal error because I haven't created the instance. So let me create the instance and let me run this. Let us see what are we going to get. See, so I'm just creating the object. Whenever I'm creating the object, my new constructor is automatically called, and the value of a is being displayed as 50. Okay, is it clear, guys? I hope this creating your objects and running your creating your properties, objects, and methods, calling your objects, methods, properties. I think these are all clear, right? Shall we move forward? Great. Now, so in our system Verilog, we are going to have two type of keywords. One is this, okay, and another is super. Okay. So we are going to discuss about the super later because we need inheritance concept for this to discuss. Okay. We are going to discuss about this keyword. Okay. Now, what do you mean by this? Let us try to understand. Let's say if I'm going to have, what happened to this? Yeah. Let's say if I'm going to have a function, void add is my function. Okay. And I'm going to have two arguments. These are the local arguments to your function. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to write down, let's say if I'm going to have m comma n, then what I'm going to write down is a is equal to m and b is equal to n and followed by end function. Now, where is this a and b are declared? They are declared globally inside your class. Okay. Let's say if your local arguments names are also a and b, and if you're going to write down a over here and if you're going to write down b over here, then to differentiate between your local arguments and the global arguments, you can use a keyword which is known as this. So basically, if you are going to use a keyword which is known as this, then you are referring to the arguments which are declared globally, that is which are declared inside this present class. Okay, So this is where your this keyword is used to distinguish between your local arguments to your function and global arguments which are declared inside your class. This keyword will help you to distinguish between the variables. Is it clear, guys? Exactly. So to differentiate between your local arguments and the global arguments which you are declared in that particular class. Okay. Basically, this refers to arguments which are declared in your class, in your present class. When I'm going to discuss about inheritance, it will be more clear. Present class. Okay. Yes. So this is about your this keyword. Any doubts or any queries in this? Shall we move forward? Okay. Now, let me create one particular class. So okay, let me remove this add function and let me have this display function only. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply create two handles. Here I have only one handle, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create two handles c underscore h1 comma c1 underscore h2. I'm going to have two class handles. Okay. I've created only one class handle. Sorry, I've created only the object for one class handle. I haven't created the object for second class handle. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to copy this two handles. C1 underscore h2 is equal to c1 underscore h1. And first of all, let us display the c1 underscore h2 contents. What is that I'm going to get? Can anyone tell me? Can anyone tell me what is that I'm going to get if I'm going to copy this two handles? I've created the object for my first class handle only, but I haven't created the object for my second class handle. But I've made this particular copy operation. I've assigned my two handles. I've assigned my first class handle to second class handle. I'm displaying the value of c1 underscore h2. So what is that I'm going to get? Any guesses? Okay. Others, do you want to guess anything? What is that I'm going to get if I'm going to make the assignment and I'm going to display it? Both have the same value. Okay. 50. Let's check it out. What happened to this? Line number 26. Sorry. C1 underscore H1. Value same. Okay. Yes. So what are we going to get? What happened to this unresolved difference to C1 underscore H dot A? It's C1 underscore H1. Let me run it one more time. Yeah. So I'm going to get the value of A is equal to 50 and the value of A is equal to 50. This is calling from the second class handle. Okay. So what is happening over here is, so if we have a class, I hope my screen is visible, right? What happened to this? Yeah. So what is happening over here is, if we have a class, in our example, it is C1 underscore H. And for this class, what I'm going to do, I'm creating two handles. Okay. One is C1 underscore H1 and another is C1 underscore H2. Okay. So this is my class C1. So for this particular class C1, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create two handles. Sorry. I think there is a loose connection. Yeah, yeah. 1 minute. Give me 1 minute. Yes. So we have a class C1. For this particular class, I'm going to create two handles. What happened to this? So I've created a class which is C1. Okay. And for this particular class C1, I'm going to create two handles. One is C1 underscore H and another is C1 underscore H1 and another is C1 underscore H2. Okay. I've created two class handles. And for this class, for this class handle, I've created an object. Okay. Like this, I've created an object using the new keyword. Okay. Now what is happening over here? I have the value of A is equal to 50 and B is equal to some value, let's say 25. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to write down C1 underscore H2 is equal to C1 underscore H1. Then what is going to happen? So I haven't created any object for my C1 underscore H2. What is going to happen if I make this copy operation is the C1 underscore H2 is now pointing to the same object which I've created for C1 underscore H1, which it is pointing to. Okay. So this is what it is happening. Okay, guys, is it clear for everyone? Exactly. C1 underscore H2 is basically pointing to the object which was created for C1 underscore H1. So both the handles are now pointing to the same object. Yes or no? Is it clear? Now, let's say if I'm going to make any changes using my second handle is equal to 20 and let us display the first class handle values. $display. I'm going to write it down. I'm displaying value of A is percentage %d C1 underscore H1 dot A. What do you think it is going to happen? What will be the value of A in your C1 underscore H1 object? 20. Because both the handles are pointing to the same object so that if any changes which are made to the property with the second handle will be reflected to the first handle also. Is it clear, guys? Because simple point, because both the handles are pointing to the same object, right? So if you are making changes to the property with this handle, it is going to be reflected in this handle also. If you are going to make the changes in this handle, it is going to be reflected in the this handle. Is it clear? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. That's great. Okay. Now, so this is nothing but my object assignment. So in object assignment, if I'm going to perform a simple object assignment, what is basically happening is any changes which are made to one class object or one class particular property, then those particular changes are also reflected to second class handle. Okay. So this is nothing but my object assignment. Okay. Now, so that is the reason we are going to something known as shallow copy. So in the case of my shallow copy, which I'm going to have, let us see how to perform this shallow copy. So what I'm going to do is simply I'm going to write down C1 underscore H2 is equal to new of C1 underscore H1 and let me run this. Let us see what is that I'm going to have. See, so if I'm making any changes in my second handle, but those changes are not reflected in my first handle. Since in your second handle, the value of A is 20, but in the first handle, it is still showing the value of A is 50 only. Can you able to see or not? Yes or no? Yeah. So what is the keyword which I'm using over here when I'm copying? C1 underscore H2 is equal to new C1 underscore H1. This is nothing but my shallow copy which I'm going to do. So what is going to happen over here is there will be one object which is separately created for your first handle. So C1 underscore H1 will be pointing. 1 minute. Give me 1 minute. It is getting lag. So C1 underscore H1 is pointing to one separate particular object and C1 underscore H2 is pointing to another different object like this, where we have A is equal to 50 and B is equal to some 25. And here, if we make the operation C1 underscore H2 is equal to new of C1 underscore H1, this is what it is happening. So C1 underscore H2 is created, a new object will be created for this And for C1 underscore H1, already an object has been created. Now let's say if you are going to make any changes to this particular class property, that is C1 underscore H2 dot A is equal to 25, then the values are reflected in this particular object, not in this object. Okay. And let's say if you are going to write down C1 underscore H2 dot B is equal to 65, then your B value will be updated to 65. Both will have their own different copies. Is it clear? The difference between your shallow copy and object assignment, are they clear? Any doubts or any queries? Others also, please let me know. Any queries? Okay. Now, let me take one more scenario over here. Let us say if I'm going to have a particular module EX and I have one class C1 int A end class and end module. And I have one more class over here, class C2 int B end class. Okay. Now, within an initial beginning block, what I'm going to write down is C1, let's say it is C1 underscore H1. Okay. C2 underscore H2. Okay. Now, if I'm going to write down C2 underscore H2 is equal to C1 underscore H1. Now, what is that it is going to happen? Can anyone tell me within a beginning block if I'm going to write this down? What do you think it is going to happen? Is it going to work or not? Okay, let's say the value here is 10 and here is 20. Now tell me, will both the values be same or different? Okay, let us make the memory allocation. C1 underscore H1 is equal to new. Now tell me. Okay, why the error? See this code and can anyone tell me? Okay. So here the rule over here is if you want to copy the handles, if you want to make the copy operation between your handles, then both the handles, so here both the handles should be of same class type. Both the handles should be of same class. You can only copy the handles of your same class, but not different classes. Let me run it and let me show you. See, incompatible types assignments C2 underscore H2, C2, which belongs to C2, and C1 underscore H1, which belongs to C1. You cannot assign handles of different classes. You can only assign handles of same classes, but you cannot assign handles of different classes. Is it clear, guys? Yes or no? So majorly what happens is I've seen in some interviews like people study shallow copy and deep copy, but they miss this small point that you should make the copy operation between the same class handles, but not between the different class handles. This people forget. Okay. So please be careful in this. You cannot make the assignments of different class handles. You can only make the assignments of same class handles. Okay. Then only you can, if you want to explain in your interviews also, then only you can explain by taking the same class handles only. You can explain the shallow copy between different. You can explain the shallow copy between same class handles, but not the different class handles. Okay. Is it clear? Yeah. So this is a golden rule. Please remember this. Okay. Yes. Now, there is one disadvantage in this. There is one disadvantage in shallow copy that we are going to learn tomorrow, and we are going to overcome that particular disadvantage in the shallow copy which we were facing using one more copy method which is known as deep copy. Okay. Yes. So that's about this particular session. So if you have any doubts or any other queries you wanted to discuss, you can stay and discuss with me, or else you can leave this session. Okay. Thank you.